awesome, about to witness the awesome, crushing mind Eugene S. Robinson. Stomper! Welcome, my friends, to a show that simply never ends. This is 3, 5. Wait a minute. 3, 5, 8. The Eugene S show, Stomper. I'm your host, Eugene S. Robinson. Got a lot to talk about on this show. Well, first, let's let Stigmata sing us in. Bob Riley, Stigmata, sing us in like he has every week since 2007. The record, Volume Adjust. The sound, intro, all or nothing. Still available from Revelation Records in Huntington Beach, California, where they shoot you to death in a nightclub, hit your car with a hammer, and drive your mayor out of town, your mayor pro tem out of town, and the rails are open for some standard restaurant in Central Florida somewhere. Listen well. Vinny Wells.
I'm on my way back to nowhere. I took my time
It could not seem so clear, but I'm taking a real good look at you. I'm taking a real good look at your face.
I'm on my way back to there, boy.
So being payback and for always nothing. All right, my friends. Listen, we got. I got to thank TM right at the top of the hour. For being a solid guy that's carrying all the rest of you. Since in 2 days' time, that would be specifically Tuesday, I have to cut June another check for making sure that people on the internet can get it. Hold on, let's put the headphones on. Slings out, ray arrows of outrageous. What would he had he the motive for cue for passion that I have? Slings and arrows of outrageous fortune. He would drown the stages with tears, make mad the weary. Treacherous and lecherous. These are lines from Hamlet. Is it not monstrous that this player here? Anyway, this is 358. Eugene S. Robinson show Stomper. TM is those of you who do the Substack, the monthly $7, you're Jake. You're fine. Those of you who don't, you can go to Cash App, you can go to PayPal, you can go to Venmo, get money for the show, but 2 days' time, I got to scratch a check for $440 to, I'm not making you carried away from Bad Boss Brief. It's another $220 to June. So I'm just saying, you want to help out. Let Jude know how much you love her. How about that? Anyway, here we go. At this point, a good many of y'all have heard the news. Now, keep in mind, I was part of the 60% that said that Dude would not go to prison. Dude, in this instance, being specifically convicted felon and huckster Carlos Watson, would not go to prison. I said that he was going to fabricate some excuse to get back to Florida, and then from Florida to escape to the Keys, and then Cuba. He had something else planned. He has the guy Glenn Martin, whoever was carrying water for him. Now keep in mind the white attorneys, Frisch and the white attorneys he had, they were also were sort of Trump affiliated types, right? They were Trump affiliated types who he believed would be able to speak the same language, I thought, as a Trump judge, comedy. But he spent so long, the entirety of this 8-week trial, goading this guy. He accusing the guy in kind of the grossest anti-Semitic terms. Oh, he's playing the stock market like a dreidel. That what he was trying to get this guy to do, I anticipate now, Monday morning quarterbacking, is give something that is outside of the norm so that they would have a case for appeal. On a parallel path, the idea seemed to be that they were going to secure some sort of love inside the Trump administration, which is hard given that Ozzy came to fruition at the behest of a lefty billionaire, specifically Laurene Powell Jobs. But Laurene Powell Jobs washed her hands of us in 2017, and then she just went around and bought the Atlantic instead. The Atlantic wasn't trying to get 50 million readers, but the Atlantic does what it does well. And that's all she was interested in. In the end, it turned out Laurene didn't give as much money as would have been expected of a billionaire at all. I don't think she gave more than $500,000. I could be wrong. I'm just reading the court papers. So all day on Friday, the 28th, it was like a child before Christmas Eve, where there was joy in Mudville. We're all excited about the producers of the Free Fall show that I'm the host of are trying to figure out what prison he's going to go to. What it looks like he's in, he had to be there in New York for his trial that Lompoc was where he was going. But he put in the appeal, so there was confusion. If he has the appeal is still outstanding, does he have to show up to prison? And they said, well, otherwise, the assumption was anybody would go push for appeals just so they could get a few more days or months outside of prison. I even use that, the analogy of a woman who has an early term pregnancy and they decide to give her bed rest because a day in the womb is worth a week outside of it. So let the kids stay inside. Developmentally, it's much better that they were just that's the way they were gonna go. Appeal just to stay out of jail, but that eventually the Stony Lonesome would claim him. All right? This is 12 jurors, the Justice Department, the FBI. But then something strange started to happen on the internet, on Twitter. And that's they started putting pictures of him and Trump together, making some sort of parallelism, like when they can't beat you in business, they like what happened to the fraudster, the huckster, and I will always append this to his name, heretofore. You can commute his sentence. You remove the stick from the carrot and the punishment from the crime, but he's still been convicted of the crime, so he can still be called a convicted felon and a huckster and a grifter and a fraudster and a flim-flam man and a bunko artist, all things which I will continue to append to his name. Apparently, there was a parallel back channel. The rumors have it that somehow Ivanka had something to do with it. Now, Ivanka has weaseled her way into our world in a couple of different. Now, in one way, I'm completely in support of. Yeah. She's taken Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu with Valenti. The same Valentis that are boning Gisele Bündchen, which I have to say makes me beyond. If those guys could actually get Ivanka to leave Jared Kushner, my level of happiness would be absolutely unbridled. Unbridled. But until then, I can still hope. But there's some rumor that somehow that this was a conversation that daughter number one had with daddy, that it would improve his prospects with the blacks, which I don't put much credence in that because dude will not run again. I'm not saying he won't be the president in 10 years, but he doesn't plan to run again. Make of that what you would. So all of a sudden, my phone starts going off. Never a good sign. The phone starts going off. Oh, I wish you could see this office. It's actually, you can tell by the acoustics of it that it's emptied of 80% of my stuff. 80% of my stuff. And by the second, actually by tomorrow, I have to have it cleaned up because the painters are coming. They're going to paint this room white. Right now, you can see it is white and some other color. I got to move this shit. You'll be happy to know that the desk that I'm doing this on, I was going to get rid of. A guy named Jared Frazier gave it to me. It belonged to his grandfather who died. I like the looks of it. It's like mid-century modern. I decided to keep it. We're moving to Spain. Why would I do that? This is just a desk. Well, the wife looked it up and found out it's just a desk that's worth $4,000. I got it for free. I don't intend to let it from my cold, dying fingers. The desk will not escape me now. So I have to move it so they can paint. But whatever, that's neither here nor there. So people start pinging me. There's some kind of really amateurishly doctored image of Trump with the Watson with the indefatigable Glenn Martin. We did it. Trump commutes a sentence, and I go, this is tri-level. This is upper level gamesmanship. Who would make the claim but that we're not true? So everybody's like, Eugene, like I somehow know. Call my friends in the FBI, call them nothing, nobody's confirming. Call Ben Smith. People are confirming, but then they're confirming my original source, which is just somebody who heard the rumor and got it to me. And we don't have any direct confirmation until it was Reuters or AP picked it up. And then we're like, oh, wow. So it was good that it happened when it did, because if it happened on Saturday when I'm writing the Substack, I wouldn't have been able. It took me from Friday to now to be relatively sane about it. Because you had, and I have to say, it was somebody at jiu-jitsu, Carissa at jiu-jitsu, who said, "What do you give a shit?" I was like, I guess you're right. She's got nothing to do with you. I go, yeah, but, and then I mentioned that to my ex-wife, and my ex-wife said, I was over my ex-wife yesterday. She goes, she's a lawyer. She said, there are rules and there are standards. The system is based on rules, standards that we call laws. It's a nation of laws. If you undermine faith in the laws and the process by which we hold these laws to be self-evident, you undermine the entire underpinning of our American reality, or some version of that. Some version of that. And I go, that's where we are now. We're through the looking glass. So in trying to find the silver lining, the MAGA woman at jiu-jitsu was like, got nothing to do with you. You know, he's been punished enough. I said, you're only saying that. No, he's not even on line for the 96 mil. Apparently, crime is no longer criminalized in America. Crime is business, and business is okay. So I'm looking for a silver lining, and I'm looking, yeah, she is. I'm looking for a silver lining, and I'm not coming up with one. All I'm getting is Zamaga, forget it, Jake, it's Chinatown. That's all I'm getting so far. Forget it, Jake, it's Chinatown. Minutes before this show started today, the most cynical guy I know, I'm sure he wouldn't want his name mentioned, but let's just say Greg, texted me something that I think is fairly phenomenal, and I'm going to read it to you. Let me see. Let me find it. Here we go. He says, the real takeaway here is that if corporate crime is no longer illegal, the real takeaway here is that corporate crime is no longer illegal. Then, okay, if I'm Goldman Sachs or whoever, and Carlos Watson defrauded me out of $40 million, And the law says, well, too bad for you. Nothing is off limits in business. No crime is crime. Corporate fraud is no longer illegal, at least in any realistic way. Then, well, okay, how do I handle this? He's speaking as Goldman Sachs. I'll tell you how. Carlos sleeps with the fishes because, look, the feds may not care anymore, but I care a lot about my $40 million. And I'm not interested in getting ripped off again. And ripping me off no longer comes with any legal ramifications. He says, I mean, we've seen this story before. We will see, he says. If the Justice Department stops being interested in corporate fraud, then it will devolve in some way. Trump has surrounded himself with corporate billionaires this time. He seems to be letting them drive a large part of his agenda, aka Doge. I just think these guys may not have thought all of this all the way through. They may not like what they end up with. I just can't figure out why Trump does this. I can only think of two things. One is with them pushing this whitewash thing at the Smithsonian and the country, he is going to need people of color to come to his defense, so he sets up a quid pro quo situation. But I'm not sure they really care about that or even think they need support. The other, to send a signal that we are backing off on corporate crime, this one feels more likely to me, but who knows? Maybe it's something personal we do not know about. But I like that the V for Vendetta take, right? Yeah, I like that. I mean, what he's saying is, if Goldman Sachs has to police for themselves because they know they won't get any active redress in the courts, they will do it in a way that they see fit, and it won't cost them $200,000 of legal bills to do it. You do know how cheaply you can get somebody killed, can't you? Remember the guys that are lurking around in the bushes at my house? How much was he paid? He was paid by the fraudster Carlos Watson to do this, and he probably not paid enough to run the gauntlet at my place, and yet there he was. Tuesday, If the Shoes Fit, is next week. Wednesday, I think it's Bad Boss Brief comes out. Sunday, it'll be a little late because of my haircut. And then for a little bit after that, the shows will be done from Europe. Oh, sorry, were we supposed to talk about the fights? Look what you made me do! Don't die, don't die.
Thanks for joining us this week for yet another episode of the Show Stomper podcast, featuring your host, Eugene S. Robinson. Follow Eugene's weekly newsletter, which is a soaring hit, over at eugenesrobinson.substack.com. If you're still hanging on to Twitter, he's there at Eugene S. Robinson. While you're at it, you can follow him on Insta at Mr. Sleep 3. That's the number 3. For more episodes of the show that seemingly never ends, go to showstopperpodcast.substack.com. Eventually, it will house all the Knuckle Up archives we can locate. We already have all the jiu-jitsu breakdowns for free. Check out Eugene on the Bad Boss Brief podcast every other Tuesday, as well as the If the Shoes Fit podcast. Be sure to pick up his memoir, A Walk Across Dirty Water and Straight into Murderer's Row, today. Leave him a much appreciated, honest Amazon review. Hey, are you still there? I'm here too. This is me, June M. Williams, Eugene's producer. The show Stomper has been produced since 2013 by Original Designs, owned and operated by myself, June M. Williams. I provide Eugene with things like videography, original show graphics, motion graphics, show logos, podcast syndication, social media, and more. I can be reached at originals@gmail.com, which is spelled ORIJUNELS@gmail.com.